Ahoy folks! Tris here with yet another video on Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. The game has been playable at Tokyo Game Show, and a bunch of new footage has come out from this demo. So I thought it'd be good to take some time to sit down and look through it, analyzing new details that have emerged. Don't worry, this won't be a full-scale analysis. Or, I suppose, sorry if that's what you were hoping for this to be. But I'll only be going over new details here, and building off of my previous analysis videos, so if you haven't watched either of those already, make sure you do. First off, story details. The story mission seen at the TGS demo is the first time Zelda enters the depths, alongside Rauru and Minoru. Their goal seems to be to strengthen Rauru and Zelda's powers of light, while also helping Minoru explore further with her research. The mission is called Where Ancient Wisdom Sleeps. This makes me wonder if this level ends with the discovery of the mysterious construct. In fact, the scene with the Flux construct shows a door behind it, with Zelda talking about their destination. And it's the exact same door as the one from the reveal of that construct. So, presumably, this is indeed where we meet that construct. Also, we do see that though there isn't any battle happening, and basically just story, Zelda is indeed able to move around and follow the other characters. So it basically is a little more than an interactive cutscene when not in battle, but it shows that there will be more depth to these levels. Next, let's take a look at a bunch of gameplay details. The level played is the introduction of Zonai devices, which I would imagine means it's a fairly early level in the game. My guess is the second or third level. Plus, Zelda starts at level 4, so it's definitely pretty early. As for the Zonai devices that we see here, there are flame emitters and batteries to restore energy, and the energy will automatically recharge slowly only once it runs out, but it also can't be used again until it's fully refilled. We also see some time bombs, which can be used against the Frogs. Pressing right on the D-pad isn't just for items, it brings up a horizontal menu, and in here are items, Zonai devices, and even special actions as well. This right here are special rations, used to recover hearts and heal. Basically, the apples from Age of Calamity. But in a cute little detail, these are prepared by a culinary construct. Anyway, you can assign up to 4 of these to the R button, which is the special actions menu. And when holding the R button, you can press A, B, X, or Y to use one of the quick assigned actions. Be it a special ration, a Zonai device, or the unique skills. Zelda has 2 unique skills here. Piercing Light, which fires a beam of light from the tip of Zelda's Zonai blade, and the Bow of Light. These are 2 different, unique attacks that don't seem to be tied to any of Zelda's combo actions. According to an in-game tutorial, abilities with this symbol of a dashing arrow are meant to counter charging enemies. This is much like, say, using the correct Sheikah rune against an enemy in Age of Calamity to stun them, and then make the Wii Point gauge appear. The other icon is to attack enemies in the air. So presumably, every character has these 2 special actions that are meant to be used at specific instances to counter enemies. One to counter a charging enemy, and one to counter enemies in the air. Mechanically, they're pretty similar to the Sheikah runes from Age of Calamity, but there's only 2 of them now. We also get to see several different character combos in action, though primarily Zelda's. Though she has a special action for the Bow of Light, we see the standard use of the X button without a combo also has her pull out the light arrows. I'm not gonna go into all of the combo strings here, as I would rather you go watch the source gameplay to see each of them in action. But I can note that these are what Rauru and Minoru's initial combo trees look like. Or at least what they look like for this demo. They may have less to start with in the full game. But this gameplay fully confirms that Minoru quickly summons a bunch of random Zonai devices and constructed vehicles as part of her moveset, which just seems really fun. Minoru's unique skills are Construct Launch and Spherical Strike, and Raru's unique skills are the Heaven Piercer and the Phalanx Thrust. We also get to see some new enemies that weren't confirmed in previous trailers, but are returning from Tears of the Kingdom, including Evermeans, the living enemy trees, and as a boss, a Flux construct. Next, I want to touch upon the sync strikes really quick. Zelda's and Raru's looks exactly as I speculated in a previous analysis video. The hands connect, the pair play an animation, then both are controlled with separate control sticks. Then, a flashy finisher animation plays before a bigger strike. Rauru in Miniru's has Rauru picking up a ton of clones of Zonaite spears and throwing them ahead at enemies, before the flashy finisher has him throw all of them at once. We also get a quick look at Zelda in Miniru's Sync Strike, where Miniru summons her construct and Zelda climbs on. You can press X to bombard, or Y and A to smash. This UI says, at sites of sacred power, Zelda and Rauru's unique skills have shorter cooldown times. This suggests that sites of sacred power will be at least somewhat frequent appearances in the game. That, and Zelda and Rauru in particular, will really benefit from levels that include them. The final little bit of gameplay details here that I want to go over are the confirmation that flurry rushes are back, and seem to work just like in Age of Calamity. Next, let's talk about the loading screen. It looks more like Tears of the Kingdoms than Age of Calamities in terms of the layout. The tips and info can appear in the main area on the left, and in particular we see a summary of Zelda here, noting that she is trained with the powers of light and time under Rauru and Sonia. On the right, we can see 3 icons. The top is battles or scenarios, but is it only main scenarios? The icon is near identical to the one used for main story scenarios in Age of Calamity, so I'm pretty confident that's what this one is. The middle one might be for smaller side missions, much like in Age of Calamity, as these look more like small solo swords. The bottom one might be for side quests to receive rewards, but aren't battle missions. Age of Calamity had many of these across the map, and these were how characters gained more health, combos, and more. In fact, the loading screen in Age of Calamity also had similar 3 icons, but these ones were along the bottom, representing the main scenario story missions, smaller side missions, and side quests. So that's very likely exactly what these 3 in Age of Imprisonment represent too, which is big, because it means the game should have the same general structure then. Despite the big story focus, there should still be a decent amount of side content. Next, I want to loosely touch upon materials. We see Bright Bloom Seeds and Giant Bright Bloom Seeds are dropped by defeating Little Froxes, but it's a little weird that they're not actually needed at any point in this level down here in the depths. So what are the Bright Bloom Seeds actually used for? We also see enemy drops are once again back, like Soldier Construct Horns and Frox Fangs. There's also Zonaite that gets dropped by the Frox, so it's safe to say that most of the enemy material drops will indeed be back. There's also this brand new one, Zonaite Steel, one-handed, in the treasure chest from defeating the Frogs. Maybe it's a material exclusively used for crafting one-handed weapons. Finally, the big question, when will we see more of the game? Well, it's hard to say when exactly we'll get more trailers, although given that it's releasing in early November, probably at least one more big trailer about halfway through October. But based on how Age of Calamity went, I imagine we're going to see a public demo launch on the eShop pretty soon. Likely within 2 weeks of the game's launch, so at the end of October, but it might even show up before then. And with that, that's everything I was able to uncover from the new footage of Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Especially now that we've had a proper look at gameplay, it's looking incredibly good. I've done 3 analysis-style videos on this game so far, so I'm clearly very excited about it. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like, and of course, subscribe for plenty more gaming goodness from me. Until next time, farewell everyone. Special thanks to my channel members at the Co-Star Luma tier: Kiss My Flapjack, Game Explain, Thale Caesar, Azure Pip, Swiftjar, and Simpsons703.